Welcome to Roll for Crit Expansions. I'm Jonathan Estes.
And I'm Will Keeler, and today we'll be looking at Ghost Stories White Moon.
That's right. This is one of the two expansions currently out for Ghost Stories. We played it and we're going to talk about it a little bit. First, let's go through, I guess, what this actually adds that is different. Then we can talk about how we feel about it. It actually has a bunch of new things.
Well, before we actually explain that, if you haven't seen our playback for Ghost Stories, we'll put a link down below and you should watch that so you actually know what we're talking
Yes,
about.
you'll get a little basis for how this works. So what this game adds first is villagers. There are now villager tiles on every main tile of the board, and they can be killed or saved. You want to save them.
Spoilers!
Yeah, there's also this new ritual aspect that involves the moon, and there's a portal in the center of the board, and then
Well, it
there's...
starts in the center, it can be random,
It could be random.
which is where you use to actually rescue said villagers.
Yes, and then there are these four pillars, one in each corner, and they also have crystals, gems for each pillar, and there's different ways where things can happen that bring out this spirit, and she grants you those crystals, and they can
As well as rolling dice. And there are multiple ways. She's really the main way. But for you to put those crystals actually on those four pillars, in which if you activate all four, you activate a whole new special round.
Yeah, where you get to kind of get a special attack against the ghosts, or you could also spend them individually as any color to fight a ghost.
Right.
Those are really the two big things.
And of course, some more big boss cards
New
and
ghosts, yeah, etc. So yeah, I guess how do we feel about it?
Well, I think the first thing you said, no matter what, this is Ghost Stories. So it is still very hard.
Yeah, it kind of, I think it's a good balance because it was definitely very hard, and we happened to win when we played it.
Yeah,
by the
by
skin
like
of our
this,
teeth.
no, literally, I think like one turn we lost or something.
But at the same time, it felt a little bit like I felt more confident, and maybe it's just from experience.
Well, for me, one of my biggest issues with Ghost Stories Vanilla is it feels like to me that once the game starts, if you do not do everything perfectly, you are punished so hard.
Right. And especially if you take a chance and mess it up, you could easily be set back.
While that still has somewhat of an effect in this version, I felt like we were able to, make mistakes, like people could die, and still roll with the punches.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So if 12 of the villagers die, the game is over. But there's, I believe, 24 total. So there's a little wiggle room in what you can do. And when you save certain villagers, if you save a whole family, they give you a reward. So that's also
And some of them
something
were
that's new.
amazing.
Yeah, they give you special artifacts that you can use that are, first of all, they're really cool tokens. And yeah, they can be very helpful. So that was a nice boost.
No, and the way the villagers worked is because if you watch our game, you notice that the black ghost can come up and flip a tile over. If there's a villager there, instead the villager runs away, which
Right.
gives you a lot more breathing room.
Yes.
I think that alone is what made it for us.
Yeah, you don't have to worry as nearly as much, or you can be a little more strategic with the haunter ghosts.
Right. No, because we were like, okay, we know this board is the center was empty, so we actually wanted to put haunter ghosts in the middle tile, so they'd push them there.
Yeah, so sometimes they actually are kind of helpful to you, which is, and they suggest in the game that you remove, because there's a new tile, which we also didn't talk about, you remove that turn all the haunters back tile, because it's not as necessary. But the new tile is Kung Fu School.
Well, first of all, that's just awesome.
Yeah, that lets you attack either any of your color, your personal player color, every black ghost.
Which turns out to be really good
Very
in
strong.
particular, because I know there's a point I was the green board in which I don't roll the curse die and I roll an extra die. So pretty much I was able to get a bunch of tokens, and then I just went like full
Yeah,
on
you can just wipe some people
which I
out.
didn't do much. But then you had a turn where you killed your entire board.
I killed like 3
I
ghosts
just
at once.
imagine like the 3 guys on your board lining up, looking. Also, they look to the right, and then you just like came flying kick in
It
like
was
with all their heads.
An amazing epic action moment.
And you only used like 1 token too. That was the amazing thing. It wasn't even like
Yeah, we had a couple really nice. We had a couple not so nice rolls, but the main thing for me, even before getting to the mechanics, I just love the aesthetic of the new pieces. It really makes it feel. It reminds me of Japanese horror games like Fatal Frame or some Japanese movies where there's always like some kind of a ritual and shrines and stuff. And actually seeing those pillars with the crystals and the portal in the center, I think it adds so much. It really makes it look and feel like a very different experience.
No, it definitely felt more like, to me, and I think it actually, the mechanics made me bring it in with it too, is that it wasn't just like the original Ghost Story is like, we're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die.
Right.
When this really felt like, it was still life and death, but it felt like, we had, we had power on our side.
And it was, I think, also the fact the villagers. It makes it feel more alive. Like it feels like
No.
it is a village, not just 4 dudes.
And they're the way they move too.
Yeah.
And what's nice is that also the villagers aren't completely helpless.
Yeah, right.
And it's sort of cool when you think about, then you think strategically like, okay, I can go here, but if I drop this villager off here, I'll get pushed in the center. We rescue him, and then we're each going to get 5 tokens and stuff. And
So yeah, it definitely adds a lot. I think we both really like it. My question is, is this an expansion you think that like you will always want to play with from now on?
honestly, I would. Because like I said, my biggest problem with Ghost Stories is it's a great game, but it just felt like
It's punishing.
too punishing. I felt like within this mode, while punishing, it felt like it was much more reasonable.
Yeah, you felt like you had a fighting chance a little bit. And yeah, it certainly wasn't easy, but
Like I definitely feel like original Ghost Stories is like, really, if there's an alpha gamer who knows how to do it perfectly, then it's like, just don't, like, you feel like you have to listen to him or you're gonna lose.
right.
In this mode, I feel like, no, you have options. You could go save the guy or do this. Both of them will still get us there.
Yeah,
like,
there
you don't
were
feel
a
nearly
bunch of
as
times when it's felt like, well, it's like I want to save that villager for that, but you could also fight that ghost.
But in the sense that it didn't feel like, you know
Neither
how
one was like
sometimes in a game you feel like, well, if I do this, we're screwed that way. If I do this, we're screwed that way. It felt more like,
Yeah, weighing your options.
you can breathe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I'm the same way. I guess the only reason I wouldn't introduce it right away is
Well, no, I say
somebody's
you
new.
have to play the base.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it is a lot
I do
of
think
stuff.
I mean, after you play the base once, there are very few games I can think of where I think of expansion so important you got to throw it in.
Right.
And I don't think the base is bad enough for that. It usually comes
Yeah.
because the base is missing something,
Right.
not because
fixes something. This really just adds a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And for the size of the box, there's really a lot of content in it. Like it really does change the way you play in a fun way.
I will say this also: when we played it, mostly we did it with 3 people. I will say, Ghost Stories once again, because of its situation, you always want to try to get 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Still.
It's not bad.
It's not. It wasn't like I said. It wasn't bad, but
it's definitely nice.
Yeah, it was just nice to have. If you'd be nice to have 4 people.
I would almost say like either 4 players or solo is
Yeah.
like the best way to do it. Or well, because when you're solo, you can just play as 4 different people.
Yeah.
Really. But yeah. So we really like it. It was a lot of fun.
It brought challenge in more strategic, without while also taking some pressure off the players to be perfect, which I think it really needed. Though who knows what the other expansion will be.
Yeah, we have not tried Black Secret yet, but
Yeah, White Moon, Black Secret.
I know, right? If you like ghost stories, then you definitely should check this one out. It's called White Moon, and
Oh, we forgot to mention something, which is very important. I just realized.
Yeah.
If a villager dies, they actually have bad effects too.
oh right. So
Wait,
it's-
the reason why I want to bring that up is because, yeah, as you know, the big villain, the villain's name?
Wu Fang.
Wu Fang. There is a Wu family who, if one of their members die, you take a Wu card from the box and put it into the field.
Yeah, so they can really mess things up. So it is definitely a scary thing to. It's like sometimes you're like, we can lose that guy.
But that's the thing. It felt nice to be able to have that kind of, it not feel as bad about something bad happening.
So if you let us know if you have played White Moon, how you feel about the balance of difficulty. Maybe you actually think it made it too easy, because I could see some
Or maybe
people
too
thinking
hard
that.
for some people.
Or too hard, yeah, I don't know, or too much to deal with. Liked it or not, you can send us an email, rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And of course, we're on so many other social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But the easiest way is just right down below.
Leave a comment right there. We will read it on the air. And obviously, if you haven't tried White Moon or the base of Ghost Stories out, you can buy them on our website, rollforcrit.com.
That's right, where we sell so many games and post all our videos, such as this one,
Such as
the playback we mentioned earlier,
Yes.
and lots of news stories.
how to play the original Ghost Stories if you don't know. Otherwise,
Just a great place to get everything
it's
about
the
board
best
games.
place. I go there every day.
Well, yeah, you work there.
Yeah, it's sort of, I have to.
But I think for now, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this has been another episode of Roll for Crit Expansions.
Yeah.